Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over 5 things that have made me a better mix engineer. You know, obviously the more that you do something, the better that you're going to get at it. And I think with that comes a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of self-development on the other hand. Because these 5 things aren't any tools. And the more you do something such as mix engineering or master engineering, recording engineering, you tend to pick up on certain things besides tools that really do help you get better and produce better results. And the first thing on that list that has helped me become a better mix engineer is to know to mix louder. Now, I know a lot of talk goes around, you should also mix very quietly. And I never really understood that. I did try it. I'm not gonna knock something without trying it, but when I did do that, the results just weren't that beneficial to me. Why am I listening to this at such a low level? Well, I guess the theory behind that is so that you can listen at a low level and still be able to hear everything. Well, I'll go and listen to some of my favorite records, and if I'm listening super quiet, there's not gonna be things that really stick out to me, and I'm just not going to be paying that much attention to something that's being played that quietly. I can tell when something is wrong when it's a lot louder. So this is why I like to mix at a level just about what I would be mastering at. That way, I can hear anything that sticks out or that's hitting my last limiter too hard. If things start to distort, that's when you know you have a problem. Now, I'm not saying to, blow the roof off of this place, but mixing at a level where I'm just about at my master level is where I like to mix. So by mixing louder, I've become a better mix engineer. Number 2, use less plugins. By using less plugins, I have been able to produce better sounding mixes. Now, this does take a while because I really wanted to learn my plugins. And when I started to find myself consistently buying more and more plugins, if there was a sale here, if I saw a YouTube video that said this was the best plugin, this is the best EQ. And that becomes a problem a lot of us face. And I didn't want to fall into that. So I just started really working the plugins that I had and really learning how they sound on different things and wanted to know which one I could get to be the most consistent. And I have just found that by doing that, I'm able to not go through decision fatigue, an empty bank account, and I was able to really learn what those plugins were doing, how they sounded on bass, guitars, vocals. When we really understand the tools that we have, we can consistently go to them and know that they're going to give us wonderful results. You know, by really working your plugins, and what I mean by that is use them on a lot of things. Pull up a test mix and just use them on different sources, drums, bass, guitars, vocals. Really understand what they're doing on an EQ. How does it sound when I manipulate or boost and cut? Are those able to get me good results? And of course, if something is just not working, whether it may be a stock plugin, and I'm not trying to dog stock plugins, but if there's something in there that it doesn't come with, such as a dynamic EQ, then yeah, like I love FabFilter's Pro Q3. It's a great visual EQ, like a million bands you can add to it, and it's dynamic. That way that I can add dynamic EQs. So really get to know your plugins, work them, know how they sound on a variety of things, and then you will start to only use those and really listen to the music. You probably won't even be using that many plugins. At least that's the result that happened to me, and that's why using less plugins has made me a better mix engineer. All right, number 3 goes along with EQing. I boost more frequencies than cut. That's right, I boost frequencies, and my mixes sound 100 times better. You know, when I first started out, pretty much all of the videos, all the mixing tutorials on EQing different things, whether it was drums, bass, guitars, vocals, every single one of them talked about cutting frequencies. Are you familiar with the whole let's sweep the entire frequency spectrum and pull out things that sound bad? Well, if you take a very narrow EQ band and sweep the entire frequency spectrum, a lot of things are going to sound bad because you're boosting all these little frequencies, about 20 dB. How would that sound good with everything else down at a regular volume? Yeah. If there's, say, a weird ringing or a kind of metallic sound in a snare drum, I'm going to take a narrow band and I'm going to cut that out because it's distracting and sounds bad. However, I'm probably going to be boosting a lot more in a snare drum or even a bass. I'm going to bring out those areas because the result of boosting actually is everything else being cut. So if I've got a boost at say 220 on a Neve EQ on the snare to have a more body, more presence, more round sound in a snare, everything else has been lowered by that frequency being boosted. And when I'm cutting, unless, like I said, it is something that is super distracting and we really need to just almost remove that, these cuts aren't going to be that drastic. A little bit goes a long way, and I think that by focusing on that whole mindset and that whole method has really helped keep all of my sound intact in the mix without it sounding thin, because by cutting a lot of things out, you are going to start thinning out the entire mix and it's not going to sound like any of the reference tracks that you are comparing it to or that you're used to. So try boosting some more frequencies than you cut. Now, the fourth thing that has made me a better mix engineer actually has nothing to do with mixing itself, and it's something called deep work. Now, I love to read a lot of nonfiction books, whether it's on productivity and self-development. It really can correlate a lot when you are your own business, like I am. We don't have a boss necessarily telling us when things need to be done. All of that is on ourselves, and so we have to focus and achieve deep work without any distractions, and results will follow. So I've read the book Deep Work by Cal Newport, and it is fantastic. It gets a little wordy, but I really think that there's a lot of beneficial things, and I have taken those and incorporated them into my mixing sessions, or even by doing this video. So the whole lesson of the book is to work for at least an hour and a half, which sometimes I can do, but I don't want to do anything less than an hour without any distractions. No cell phones, don't answer emails, don't even have any sort of notifications that come up, just concentrated non-distractive work for an hour and a half. Now, we do have to take into consideration that we are using our ears and our eyes. A lot of you commented on the last video when I didn't wear my hat. I'm not wearing it again today. Seems like y'all like that. The reason that I do is because my eyes are very light sensitive. And when I wear a hat, it can kind of block out either side or on top lights because they really will get so fatigued. So another main thing that is fatigued is our ears. And so working for an hour and a half might not work for everyone, but I would encourage you to not work less than 45 minutes to an hour. And that has really helped with my mixing with no distractions, just concentrated work. And I can really just allow myself to be fully immersed in the mix and the decisions that I'm making without any distractions. Now, the fifth thing that has made me a better mix engineer is consistency. And how do we achieve consistency in mixing? Well, I have achieved it through templates. Templates have been such a game changer in my entire mixing career. It really has. I can't even stress the fact how important these mixing templates have been to me. Once I developed them, found the methods, the techniques that worked best for me, and I did a lot of research in doing that. I followed all of the mix engineers that I think are the best in the industry. I've even gone back to, the beginning of it all with Sam Phillips, And a lot of these techniques have come from those mix engineers, and I've incorporated them to have a nice workflow with how we listen to music in modern times. But a lot of these methods come straight from those people, and I have them all saved in a template so that I can be consistent in that. And once I did it, once I started mixing with these mixing templates, I didn't change anything. Very rarely will I add something. Like you saw the last video, I'll put a link to that up here, but I added the Soothe plugin, and that's the first new plugin that I've added to this whole system since I started it. Now, I have upgraded things. I used to use the Waves version of the API 2500. Now I use the UAD because I saved my money and I bought it because it's not cheap. I understand that. UAD plugins are a little bit more pricey, but once I had the ones that I knew worked and how to work them and the results that I can get from those, when I was searching for those results, I needed something to be very consistent. And that is what I've got. You can mix a lot faster, even though this is not a race. Mixing should never be a race, but it has been able to allow me to increase work and build up a business that I can make an income from and make a living, because that was the ultimate goal, right? It may be your ultimate goal to build a career, this be your job that you want. It's what makes you happy. It is adding fulfillment to your life, and you're able to eat and you're able to have a roof over your head. So there you have it. These have been 5 things that have really helped me become a better mix engineer, and they're things that you can actually start doing today. So let me know if you've got anything different, if you're going to try these out. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what has made you a better mix engineer. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk real soon.